Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, welcome to another movie episode of Game My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's ready to get blown up with me tonight?
Peter Bingham-Pankratz is here as well. The author of The Fifth Civilization.
I'm sorry, I stepped on your intro. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. It's my fault. I completely forgot to say who's going to go in what order, like I always do every episode I record.
None of us was polite enough. It was, we're too polite. We let the other person go.
Yeah.
And who else is with me?
It's a podcaster built on hope, Kerry, Chandler, Carusetta on Twitch and YouTube, Kerooseta. Here, by way of apology, I'll plug Peter's book, The Fifth Civilization is awesome. Read it.
Awesome.
It is. I need to finish it. It's sitting in the back of my car because I can't read when I'm home for some weird reason.
Great.
I'll finish it this year, Peter. For when I go to Boston, it will be read.
Awesome.
I only have about 100 pages left, so it won't be not that much. All right, and we're here to talk about a movie that I bitched about, I'm pretty sure, on this podcast. And we're continuing our Star Wars. We are here to cover Star Wars Rogue One. Or Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Directed by Gareth Edwards, and this came out in 2016.
2016.
December. Like they should.
We needed some hope.
Yeah, we needed some hope in December 2016. Exactly.
That is 100% true. My little off-topic thing, I'll never forget the way I knew my boss was an asshole. That day in November, he's like, "Oh, hey, somebody's winning, yeah!" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then he was already an asshole. I'm like, "Oh, okay, makes more sense." So, yeah,
I'm afraid that's the truth.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the guy was a terrible boss too.
If you're listening,
you know you're a bad boss when you're bitching to your employees. I have to work overtime, and I don't get paid for it. Well, yeah, but you're a manager of the store. It was your choice. You weren't forced into that position. I'll never forget
that.
The
workers on the Death Star get overtime. Come on.
Yeah, you think so?
I don't
Hazard
think so. Hazard pay.
Hazard pay. What's that? I worked there in all COVID. I didn't see no hazard pay. But so I haven't seen Rogue One since 2019, I think it was, or whenever, right before Rise of Skywalker came out. I went and rewatched all these movies. That was the last time I saw this one.
Right.
And I didn't have the highest opinion of it when I saw it in 2019. I liked it in theaters. My opinion got less. My opinion did change after this viewing. Oh, what about you, Peter? What's your history with this?
I saw it in the theaters, and I was mixed about it. I didn't know quite what to think when I first saw it. When I saw it the second time, maybe a year later, I really loved it. And it's probably been since, I think it must have been 2017 that I watched it. So I watched it again, and it's my third time seeing it. I'm really convinced it's a stupendous movie.
And what about you, Kerry?
Yeah, so I saw it opening weekend, and I walked out of the theater saying, is that the second best Star Wars movie? And I bought it on Blu-ray when it came out and have watched it multiple times. And over the years, I've decided that I think it's probably the third best Star Wars movie. It's my fourth favorite after the original trilogy. I'd say in terms of like movie making quality and writing, it's a step below A New Hope, which is a step below Empire Strikes Back. But for me, I still have the nostalgia. I can't put it above the original trilogy, but it's right below it for me. I love this movie. In spite of the fact that I definitely, it has problems that are, I want to say not the movie's fault. They're the studio meddling's fault. But when you kind of get around those, I think it's an excellent movie.
What do you consider faults in this movie?
Well, it was severely, it was taken and chopped up from the original, just like Solo, but worse than Solo, right? Because with Solo, they fired Lord and Miller and brought in Ron Howard and made the movie, right? With this, they had clearly shot a lot of the movie before they came in and chopped it up. Did they fire the director on this one also? Is that correct?
No. I think Gareth Edwards was appointed from the beginning.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But it was but the studio came in and completely rejiggered this movie, right?
They had writers. Tony Gilroy, who created Andor, among other things. Tony Gilroy was brought in to rewrite it.
To fix it. Because
it had at least 4 or 5 writers, and that's usually a sign something the studio wants is going wrong, or something's going wrong.
Yeah, and based on how good Andor is, I assume Tony Gilroy saved the movie and that it would have been way worse without him. But you can tell there's like some major issue. My biggest issue with it is that it feels like everything around Saw Gerrera was just completely chopped up and rearranged and subtracted. And so that's where it suffers. Otherwise, that's really it. There's a couple of like little things where I feel like that feels like an executive decision like putting in the well, we'll talk to about when we get there. There's a couple of cameos that feel unnecessary, but other than that, I don't have any problems with it actually.
An interesting thing about this film is that it was done so late that the first teaser trailer is mostly footage that's not in the movie. That was mostly reshot footage. But one of the main changes is that they had Forrest Whitaker be bald the whole movie. And that's in the original trailer. He's a bald Forrest Whitaker. But only in the later reshoots they say, hey, we need to give you some bunch of gray hair.
Yeah.
And it's just a weird thing that's obviously noticeable. So we'll go back and watch the teaser and you'll say, like, none of that was in the movie.
And it's like, why?
Yeah.
I think I vaguely remember this, that there were, complaints about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's basically, that's what it is to me, is that you can watch it and you can tell. You can be like, that right there, this scene was not in the original. You can see, this scene wasn't here. This scene wasn't here. This scene was longer. It had to be, like, there's a bunch of balls that they drop, but it's all early in the movie. It's all on Jeddah, basically. And then otherwise, I don't really see anything missing.
I also didn't know this, but Saw Gerrera was in Clone Wars before this movie.
Yes.
I did not know that because I watched Clone Wars later, so I thought he was a brand new character made here to then put in other things. But he's originally in a Clone Wars episode, and they decided to bring him into the Rebel era.
Yeah. My summer TV project is I want to watch Rebels before Ahsoka. But I've never finished I watched Clone Wars with my son, but like when he was little, and then just kind of watching it while doing other things. And often he would watch it while I was not there. So I've only seen like 40% of Clone Wars, so I want to watch that too. And so I was looking up a speed viewing guide that cuts out the chaff and just has like what you need. And they have the Saw Gerrera arc, and it's like 2015. So
that's cool.
I gotta take
2015 or 2016, but the point is, it's before this movie.
Yeah. Oh, I just watched the trailer. You are right. There are a bunch of scenes that are in that teaser trailer that are not in the film.
Yeah, it's a very weird thing. That the first marketing thing we glimpse of it is not anything you'll actually see in the movie.
No, like there's one of them rushing on an AT-AT or ATST. No, AT-AT. That's not in the movie.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They're running away from the AT-AT.
Yeah, they don't rush them.
I mean, I don't think you can, unless you have a lightsaber. I really don't think you can rush one on foot anyway.
Yeah, well, and that's also crazy because that means like that's an effects shot. So they had the effects done and everything that they cut.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I don't think the full story. I think it's too recent to know the full story. Like everything is very opaque and probably hidden under lawyers.
Yeah,
I feel like it's going to take like 20 years when there's some reckoning that we'll finally learn. Because this whole Disney trilogy, every movie has been troubled in some way. Mm-hmm. Except for maybe The Force Awakens. Every subsequent movie has had some issue that we don't quite know the full details of. And it'll be interesting to one day hear about it.
Force Awakens is trouble.
If Disney will ever let it go.
Yeah.
If
it's not in the vault forever with Song of the South and, Holiday Special.
Yeah, Holiday Special. Yeah.
But like even Force Awakens, I mean, I have an issue with that movie where like they made in my opinion, a great movie, but they had no idea where they were going. They're like, "Yep, here, look at this great movie got planned. All right, what's going on?" What's that fun?
Troubled in terms of like a production trouble, not the plot trouble is what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's the Disney trilogy itself has. When we finally watch the movies, we can talk about that. But
we're close.
At least we're starting off so strong with Rogue One, which I am second Kerry's view that after the original trilogy, this might be my favorite. It's been a long time since I've done a ranking, but this is a very solid Star Wars movie.
This is a very good movie. I mean, as I rewatched it for this show, and since I've been doing this podcast, I've watched tons of movies. I become more of a movie connoisseur, or like I respect films more than I did before because of this podcast and talking to people. And like when I was watching this movie, like some of the shots in this film are just incredible.
Oh yeah,
like they do such a good job with what they have, and I was like, I was blown away how much I enjoyed the cinematography of this movie.
Yes,
yeah, it's beautiful.
Cinematography can make or break a movie sometimes, and I'm glad you recognize it. Because like it's such a thrill when you finally learn, like, oh, you can learn about different techniques and stuff and see it in a movie, and it's like that's why that works because X, Y, Z, and this one is so great. This one is some of the best cinematography I've seen in a Star Wars movie. For sure. And
I gotta say how much it makes me sad that the Star Wars story stuff is just over with. Because I would have loved to see more random movies.
Yeah.
in this era, because I like this movie. I like
Yeah.
Solo. I wish we had more, and it bums me out.
Yeah, well, thankfully we're getting series, and you know, and some of the series. I mean, Andor is very good, and it's
Andor made me appreciate this movie more, because now that we've had other stuff, I was able to, even though yes, I know all that stuff came out years later and built off this. It helped me enjoy this movie more.
Yeah, it helps you appreciate Andor's characters for sure.
Because I couldn't give a shit about him when I saw this movie in 2016. Because like new character, I don't care about this guy. He just
I found him very compelling though all the time. Like I like the idea of this spy who's had to do he's fighting for the right thing. He's on the right side of everything, but he's having to do some dark stuff, and it's kind of like it's shaking his faith and all that. Like I like that a lot. I
just didn't appreciate it in 2016. I didn't appreciate it in 2019, but I appreciate it in 2023 now. Like I appreciate like your first introduction to Andor, where he's meeting this guy, this random Imperial that's on their side, that's a rebel, and he just shoots him in cold blood because the guy he's going to get captured.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense. Like he's going to talk. You're better off, and it ain't going to be a pleasant what's going to happen to him. You might as well just put him out of misery quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
This is war. I mean, this kind of shows the horrors of the Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's not easy and clean. Just like a real war, sometimes you have to, do a mercy kill, which is basically what Cassian was doing there. So that's horrifying. But this shows that the war is hell.
And also, I appreciate more of the stuff with Saw Gerrera now, because now that I've watched more Star Wars, I understand a lot more of how Saw Gerrera's rebels are, much in a much different class than the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah.
They're much more
especially at this point. At this point, the Rebel Alliance is still very timid and disjointed and not willing to commit to anything big. And so you can see why Saw Gerrera is like frustrated with them and is, gone his own way.
Yeah.
Which I think Andor does a good job of showing that. The series, I think, helps with that a lot too.
It does. It made me appreciate more of what they go through, what they went through leading up to that.
And it's like I kind of liken it to like you can see both sides of it. Like you can kind of see, well, just like with, leftist versus progressives, and feeling like, voting isn't enough. We got to do more. We got to, that kind of thing. And it's the same thing as like sitting around a, conference room and talking about plans and stuff. No, we need to be killing Imperials, disrupting their supply chain, like you gotta commit fully. Yeah.
And I just really appreciated all that. And I also forgot this movie opens up with Mad Mikkelsen and that whole scene of the past, which they never say what year it is or anything. You can kind of like put pieces together where he was working on the Death Star and then he ran away and fled to a farm in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very human opening. Like it's for Star Wars movie. Well, I guess with Solo, Star Wars Story did it, but nothing really happens other than two characters. I mean, it starts off with two characters talking, and it's not a huge action scene. So it's definitely a departure from a lot of the other Star Wars movies. And the first shot is really beautiful, I just wanted to say, where the shuttle's going through the rings.
Yes.
It starts off with a great image. It's very unique.
Yeah.
And just, they had me hooked at that first shot. So
yeah.
I really appreciated the way that looked, too. Like, it was just such a great shot. And like, just everything with that, like, This apparently I didn't catch. I don't think this is in the movie. I think it's in the book version of this movie. But when I was looking online watching a YouTube video, they mentioned that apparently Glenn Erso or whatever is Glenn Orso. I know I'm butchering his name.
Galen
Orso. He thought he was working on a reactor for energy. He didn't realize he was making a weapon. And that's why
originally. Okay. Yeah.
So I thought that was cool because that was like the one piece that was missing for me, where it's like, okay, he's working on this and he decided, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
But that one piece, like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be based on J. Robert Oppenheimer, soon to be a major motion picture.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
But the man,
assume he's based off of Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Oppenheimer he knew he was building a weapon. However, he thought also it could be a great tool for, peaceful tool for energy, which it is. But he was more hoping that it become nuclear energy would be a thing as opposed to nuclear weapons.
Yeah. And I assume he assumed that we were going to use it as a deterrent and not just, nuke two cities with it.
I think, I have to read more about him specifically to see what his moral qualms were. I mean, certainly if you're building a weapon of war,
that it has the potential to be used. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's, probably more culpable than Galen Erso is theoretically.
Yes. I've never bought Oppenheimer's whole regret thing very much because he, prepared he's like, well, I am very regretful, but I've also got to prepare a really badass quote, It's like I am become death, destroyer of world,
Right, which is
yeah, that's so freaking rehearsed. It's always been okay, yeah, well, you're enjoying this though.
Mm-hmm. The world of Star Wars
world, that's for sure.
Yeah, the world of Star Wars is less, kind of more easily discern who's good and evil. However, there's a lot of shades of gray in this movie. It's definitely setting up Galen Erso as guiltful, but not an evil person, but still he feels a lot of guilt, and guilt is an important part of this movie. So
yeah, there's more shades of gray in this movie than in the entire Star Wars movie canon combined.
For sure.
Every single Star Wars movie there's been had less shades of gray than this movie.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, this movie they really want you to the rebels at this point are not great guys. They're doing what they have to do.
Well, not all of them. That's the thing. Is so many of them aren't doing what they have to do.
Oh,
it's it's Cassian and General Draven are the realists who are kind of doing what needs to be done, even when it's dark and dirty.
Yeah,
it's also General Draven is the guy that gives them the order to kill.
Right, the very British general.
Yeah.
I was playing Modern Warfare 3 recently, and there's a mission you have to go save the Russian president's daughter, and she gets captured. You just let her go, and I was saying in the recording, just shoot. I mean, you should just blow up the helicopter so they don't get a hold of her. And the same idea with this, where it's they can't rescue him. They're no, we're here to kill him, to stop him from working for the enemy.
Yeah,
same idea. I don't know, but this movie, it also just brought a lot of interesting things to it. When you're introduced to Cassian, I didn't care. Your first introduction to Jyn Erso is her in a prison cell, and I think you see her.
I love that.
I do too. And then you see her on the cargo or the
prison transport. Yeah, being taken out to do whatever labor she's doing as part of her prison sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Which, as we saw in Andor, they like that in Imperials. That's what you're there for.
Yeah,
free labor.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it works really well, and that's your first introduction to K2O2?
K2SO.
K2SO, yeah. Oh man, my son loves K2SO. I mean, I do too.
Yeah,
my whole family. I actually watched this time. I watched it with my wife and son. I don't think my wife had ever seen it. My son's seen it with me before, but yeah. So we watched it as a family, and we all. My wife isn't a big sci-fi person. She enjoys stuff through me, but she loved it. I think. And yeah, we both really. Which she and I watched Firefly together when we first dated. 16 years ago. Mm-hmm. And she, Alan Tudyk.
Right.
We both love Alan Tudyk.
He does such a great job at this.
He's so good. And I love, if you see the behind the scenes, he's wearing stilts walking around through all this.
I was going to say the same.
Yeah. So it's they're responding to Alan Tudyk on screen, on camera with them, looking him in his eye line because he's on stilts. It's a level of detail that I appreciate.
Yeah. They made it's better than being a CGI, fully CGI thing. At least you have the actor there performing, and then you can capture his performance in whatever digital thing you create.
Though to be fair, they did that with Jar Jar also, so I guess it doesn't always work out.
Yeah, well, I was going to talk about comic relief, and that K2SO is the perfect amount of comic relief. And this is a very serious movie, and there's not a lot of comedy. However, the majority of it comes from K2SO, and I think it's the right balance.
It is great. Every line with him is just wonderful.
Right.
Every line, every little action, when they're leaving him behind and Jyn gives him her bag and he stands there and just he says something and then he just casually drops her bag on the ground and you hear it sounds like something breaks.
I think that'd be a pity or something like that if she died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he drops and he finishes and he kind of looks down at the bag and just throws it or drops it on the ground. Or when he casually shoots a stormtrooper without looking at him. There's so many little things. K2SO is great.
When you first meet him and he grabs her by the neck when she's trying to escape, he's like, "Congratulations, you're being rescued." He throws her to the ground.
Do not resist. Yeah.
Do not resist. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the odds thing where he kept calculating the odds and they told him to shut up. But he's at one point, he says, "Oh, it's a 29% chance we'll die," and then they tell him something and it says, "Oh no, there's a 33% chance we'll die now."
Yeah,
it works. Yeah,
it's good stuff.
And like how they even have a reason to justify why he says all this dumb shit. They're like, yeah, we reprogrammed him, so he just says whatever comes to his circuits from the side effect. I mean, and it works. It gives you an explanation.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
Yep.
It's not too cutesy, and it's not too jokey or meta. It's just the right amount.
Yeah, and really what it is most Star Wars, well, especially the original trilogy and most especially the prequels, were made for children.
Right.
This is the one Star Wars movie where you can say, no, this is for sure not for children.
Right.
Like you can watch it with your kids, but this is not for children.
Exactly.
Solo is kind of in between, but this one is like just legit the only Star Wars movie you can say this is definitely not for children.
I'd agree.
Yeah, no, this is definitely more of an adult film.
Yeah.
Because it also touches on such like, more stuff with the war and like how like they are not doing well in this movie.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and like everybody dies.
Well, that's the rebellion was, a very small faction, and they had what they sent to Scarif at the end was like all they had basically.
Yeah.
All their capital ships at least.
Yeah, and they lose their capital ship, don't they too?
They lose most of it. A number of them manage to escape, but they lose their flagship.
Yeah, that's what I was surprised. I was like, okay, that is because I was watching. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, they it didn't compute the last couple times I watched the movie that they lose that giant ship in that battle.
I mean, it's captured.
It was like a last ditch effort to do this.
Yeah. And everyone that captured was killed. So.
Oh no, they made slave labor.
Yeah, that too. That would make sense. But it wasn't like, I mean, I guess this movie really kind of also, it makes me appreciate New Hope more too, because then you also realize like how bad condition they're in New Hope.
Yeah. Well, what they have in Yavin 4 is all that's left basically.
And it's not much.
No.
And there's one funny thing in here. There's a Red 5 in here who dies.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Red 5.
I did notice that.
Yeah, that's a nice little touch.
I appreciated that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just appreciate this movie a lot more. Like, I was surprised how much I liked Jyn Erso as a character, and that I really like that actress a lot too.
Yeah, Felicity Jones.
Yeah,
Felicity Jones.
She does a good job in this.
She does a good job, and she's in so many British things. I not very many American things. So I looked her up and was like, I haven't seen her in years, and I don't think I've seen any movie that she's been in since then. But she's a really good actor.
She has a lot of movies to her name.
She might have been nominated for an Academy Award for something. But
there were a bunch of awards that popped up on here when I was clicking through here, but nothing that nothing that I've seen.
Right. So good for her for getting this role, I would say.
Yeah, she's nominated for an Oscar or something. For best.
Oh, and she was supposed to be in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Supposed to be.
She's supposed to be in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, she's supposed to be Black Cat, Felicia Hardy, but that never. If I remember, I know she is not in that movie, or maybe it's a very small part. But they never actually went the full way with that they were supposed to.
Yeah, she was in. She was the lead, like the romantic lead, female romantic lead in The Theory of Everything. That
okay, Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking movie. Yeah, she played Jane Hawking.
All right, I did not see that movie, so
I did not see it either. I don't like biopics typically. I think because I'm a history teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I typically don't watch biopics, but yeah, she was nominated for Best Actress. So that's a huge nomination.
That is. Yeah.
And she was in Inferno, which I guess was a movie with Tom Hanks from that.
Oh, okay. Thing. I did see Inferno, but I don't remember. It never just computed that was her, I guess.
But yeah, no, she was really cool in this. Like, I was surprised how much I enjoyed her character's growth in this movie too. Like from the beginning, where she wanted nothing to do with them, and then she's the one rallying them to the cause. Like. It works. Yeah. Believable.
She looks really young in this. The actress is my age. She's almost my age. She's 39.
Yeah.
So, which this was 7 years ago. So she was in her 30s. I mean, I would have guessed early 20s. So that's interesting.
To be fair, Grand Moff Tarkin looks great in this movie too for being dead. So hey,
I think he looks. We'll get there. I think he looks pretty good, actually.
It's not bad. If you didn't know Peter Cushing is long gone, you might not catch it.
I don't think I definitely would not have caught it if I didn't know. Same thing with the other big one.
I know that was a common phrase I heard. I think my mom was one person who said to me, "Isn't he dead or something?" Or like, "Is he still alive?" or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like
I think it's the biggest complaint that Star Wars nerds have about this movie is those two specific cameos, and I don't think either of them actually look bad. I discussed it with my wife and son, and they both kind of agreed. They both agreed with me that they didn't look bad. So.
No, and they also make sense. They're not like unnecessary. Like they shouldn't be here. They both
those two, especially Peter Cushing's, is not unnecessary.
Right.
Having this movie without Grand Moff Tarkin, it would be kind of odd for him to not be around.
Yeah, because this is so close.
He's in command of the Death Star at the beginning of A New Hope. So
I remember seeing it and thinking that it was a ballsy move, and I appreciated it because I had heard. I don't think it was like confirmed that they were going to recreate him, unless it was like a confirmed something I didn't read. But I feel like they were still keeping it a secret. And when I saw it in the film, I was like, okay, props to them for doing that because it doesn't look bad, and I know it's a revolutionary technology, and Star Wars is usually about introducing revolutionary stuff. I think it was used appropriately here, and it wasn't gratuitous. So
exactly.
And I guess they also had the okay of his estate too to do it.
Right.
Oh, they did. Yes, exactly.
So,
it did have his okay. If you watch the behind the scenes, there was an actor there. He just had a big computer in front of his face, or a camera, and they just grafted his face on there. But he was doing the voice and the movements of the body. So
to specify, it's not a deep fake. They have not used deep fakes in Star Wars until the second season of Mandalorian.
Right.
It's the first time. It's different. And what they did was they actually 3D modeled Peter Cushing's face. Like they made a fully CGI face, and then they have the individual muscles, like it's that detailed. The individual muscles and everything are then attached to dots on the actor's face.
Yeah, damn.
That's also how they did Luke at the end of season 1 of The Mandalorian, and then season 2 they went with the deep fake because it looked better.
I mean, I would have rather, like, in this case, I'm okay with it just being, or you reuse it, but I'm more of the mind just recast the actor at a point, especially if you're going to be using the character more.
I am too, and they did recast with other actors, like General John Dodonna is in this, and he's played by the dude that was the head of the Kingsguard in Game of Thrones. Sir Barristan or whatever.
But I like they try to imitate how the people looked from A New Hope for the rest. Like they do a good job of imitating people better.
Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma looks like Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
Is that
the same actress from Andor?
Yes.
Yeah.
They did a good job with her.
And Jimmy Smits looks just like Bail Organa.
So
he looks like an older Jimmy Smits, which is how he should.
When I saw this movie and I saw Jimmy Smits, I'm like, what happens to him? I'm like, oh, he's still alive. Then he's like, oh, I'm going to Alderaan. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what happens.
Oh, shit.
I was going to go to Alderaan. I'm like, he can't be, he's not in the movie. So I'm like, they got to do something with him. And then as soon as he said, yep, I'm going to Alderaan to war, I'm like, oh, yeah, you're dead. Bye.
Yeah. I love it. I love a Jimmy Smits.
I have, he says, well, we'll get to it there at the end. I'll talk about it later, but yeah.
Okay. With another thing, I know we're jumping around a lot, but another thing I want to talk about, like Admiral Krennic. Is he a Grand Admiral?
He's director.
Oh,
director. He's not an admiral. He's a director.
He's cool. Like I like how they have him.
Nicholson is so good.
The actor does a great job, but also how they put away his character in the end of this. Either way, like throughout the movie, you have Grand Moff Tarkin using his flaw. I mean, the guy's mistakes to completely take control because he has to. Because he's.
In the next movie, he's in control. Yes.
So I like that. I like how they work that in the way that the guy acts. Like that actor does a great job in this movie.
Whenever there's Ben Mendelsohn's great.
It's Ben Mendelsohn. I mean, he's in so much stuff. I mean, he's in more Disney stuff. He's the Skrull guy in Captain Marvel, and I assume Secret Invasion series. I haven't watched that yet.
I haven't watched it yet either.
Yeah, the first movie I remember seeing him in was, I think he was in The Dark Knight Rises. It's most people.
Daggett.
Yeah, he's gone a long way. I think this movie kind of typecast him in a way because he's played a lot of the same kind of villains. Mm-hmm. I think in Ready Player One he played a similar villain, and some other movie he was playing a similar villain. But I guess that kind of happens to you if you're in a very popular movie.
Yeah.
But I guess in the Marvel show he's kind of is he more a nuanced character?
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. Okay.
In the Marvel universe. I mean, I haven't seen the series.
He wasn't Captain Marvel.
But in Captain Marvel, that's a spoiler for Captain Marvel. Turns out to be a good guy. You think he's a bad guy.
Okay.
He's one of the heroes of it. He's in one of the Spider-Mans too, in the post-credits.
Oh,
I think, not No Way Home, Far From Home, I think.
Far From Home, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like he's pretending to be Nick Fury while Nick Fury's off planet.
I really like how when these films show the infighting among the Imperials, I think A New Hope did that, and this movie does that too. Because like whenever you have any sort of like military empirical organization, there's always like fighting in the bureaucracy, but these very powerful people, have axes to grind, and it kind of shows with the Tarkin Krennic stuff, and that's really fun for me.
And I'm sure that's also what Sidious would want too as a character. Like it fits the character too. Is like he'd want them to fight for his attention and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's also much more exercised in the other canon, like comics and stuff like that, where it really shows what Vader has to go through after he becomes Vader, prove that he's still worthy and stuff like that.
Yeah, I vaguely remember reading those. Yeah.
They're good from what I remember. Because the movie goes pretty quick, and then after you meet with they get her and they go to Jeddah, I think is the main planet, the desert planet in this one.
Jeddah.
Yeah, because that's where Saw Gerrera is. Yeah, so they go to Jeddah.
And I do like that. I like how he doesn't want to give Jyn a gun at first, and then how she gets tattled on by K2.
Yeah.
Why does she have a gun? I don't.
And it all comes back later when they.
Oh yeah.
When she gives K2 a gun at the end.
Yeah, he's touched by it. Yeah.
I also like the whole thing where he's like, there's a probability she's going to shoot you. It's a high probability.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I really like the whole. I really like the whole setup for Jeddah too. The idea that this is a planet that where the Jedi got kyber crystals, so they've got a lot of kyber crystals, and it's also like there was a religion around the Force. The Jedi were kind of like the top of it, but it's not the Jedi Order. It's like a religion around the Force that revere the Jedi, and we see like when they're flying in, we see the toppled statue of a Jedi Knight that looks like it's got to be at least like 10,000 years old.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. And it's not it's not like in your face. It's just they fly over and it hesitates on it for a second so you can make out what it is. But I love that whole idea, and the idea of there being this like religious order that worships the Force and reveres the Jedi, but doesn't, they don't, they're not Jedi. And then now the Jedi are gone, and what happens to them? What happens to those people?
Yeah.
It's really cool to have like these guardians of people who are protecting the kyber crystals, but there's nothing left really.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, exactly.
And it's cool how they're stealing kyber crystals to power the Death Star, which I never knew what powered the Death Star before, so that's cool to have.
Well, I think this movie established that, right?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure this movie made up. I mean, it may have been in some EU thing, but I think this is the first like canon explanation that kyber crystals power the Death Star.
And the people who they're worshiping, I think they're the Wills. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is.
That was the very first like introduction to Star Wars. We talked about how the Journal of the Wills told the story of the Star Wars from like 1976. That was the first treatment. So when I heard that, I was like, I don't think if you're not a Star Wars fan, you wouldn't catch it. But I was like, oh yeah, that was a good reference.
Yeah, I didn't actually catch it. So
I didn't until the YouTube video told me. That's why but the fact that it's there is just really cool, and it worked. I mean, and then that's how you're introduced to Donnie Yen as a blind martial artist in this. That is just God. That he's a good actor in this.
And I want to talk about that a little bit because this is the thing I have beef not with the movie but with some stuff surrounding the movie. Okay. So when the movie came out, for Christmas someone got me the like official guidebook to the movie, which is just like it's like a not quite hardcover. It's like, but it's like a hard paperback cover with like a ton of art. Like it's got behind the scenes footage and concept art and all that kind of stuff. And it has character bios. And for Chirrut Imwe's character bio, the official movie guide says he does not have any Force ability at all. And I say that's fucking bullshit.
That's bullshit.
This is not Daredevil. He literally is dodging blaster bolts. He's shooting, like people. He has Force awareness. It's just not enough to be a Jedi. He was like someone who had Force awareness, but didn't get picked up by the Jedi because he wasn't strong enough to become a Jedi. So he's just one of those there's probably billions of people like him in the galaxy who have some Force awareness, but not enough that they got scooped up by either the Jedi or the Sith.
Right.
And instead he joined this order of monks and is one of these guardians of the Wills. I love that. That's perfect. Saying he has no ability, and it's just that he's his other senses have been amplified because of his blindness. That's comic book shit. That's not.
That's their doing.
I know we're in sci-fi fantasy show here, but we've never in all of Star Wars been given any reason to think someone could do something like that without the Force.
Right.
And it's just there's no so that annoys me when the guidebook says that. I don't trust it. I don't know who wrote that guidebook, but they're incorrect.
Right.
I disagree too, because everything he says, the Force is with me, the Force, and he is dodging blasters. He's doing things. He's sensing things he shouldn't be able to sense. Like,
right.
He's talking about like he can sense. Like he says, "Is that man a killer?"
Yeah.
And
he knew.
Boz is like, "No, he's got the face of a friend." And he goes, and when they ask about it, he's like, "The Force moves darkly around someone who's about to kill." Like he can sense the Force. It's clear he's saying he can sense the Force. I don't know. That's my little gripe about that official movie guide.
I have to look up and see if that's still their stance. But it's clear from the movie, the average viewer would say, "Oh, he has the Force," and would not think anything of. They wouldn't. The average viewer would not say, "Oh, he can do that because he's blind."
Yeah, and I
thought he had the Force, 100%.
Exactly.
Right.
I think anybody that's a Star Wars fan would say, "Yeah, he has the Force, but he's not like Jedi level, right?"
Right. Exactly.
Force pushing people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Terry, maybe he
accept
has
that there's different levels.
Like Han Solo. He just lucky.
Oh yeah, he might have the luck, like Han Solo, right?
Or the hell bullshit that was.
I just want to say real fast, we were enjoying this so much that I just like moved on and we started watching A New Hope right up until 5 minutes before we started recording. And
nice.
we were watching on Disney Plus, and we got to the infamous McClunky scene.
Oh.
And I normally watch a version of that isn't stupid, but I watched this version for the first time in a long time, and they like made Han Solo literally dodge. But the way they did it is they just like, it looks like they just did a lasso tool around him in Photoshop and just slid it to the side for a frame. And it looks so bad. And I'm like, oh, is that the luck? Is that the luck it lets him Matrix dodge?
It lets him phase through reality. Like,
oh, man.
Oh, God.
It's so stupid. I mean, it should just be he shot first. I mean...
It is. Like, Lucas was
wrong. Not a good guy. He's a smuggler. He's a cretin. Like, especially
Lucas,
at that point.
He's not such a...
He's not bad. Greedo was about to, Greedo was a bad person. So
no, I mean, I think it's fine.
But we had this conversation a few months or like a year ago, I think. But anyway, so Chirrut Imwe is awesome. Donnie Yen is awesome.
Yeah.
Lin Zhang is awesome. Baz, I love their like kind of relationship. I love the idea of Baz that he was the most faithful of all the monks, of all the Guardians, but when the Jedi were all killed, he lost his faith. But he stuck around because he cares about Chirrut.
Yeah.
I love that.
I like that too. And I like how everything leads up with them walking in town, and you have Cassian being like, there's a war coming. Like, we got to get this town's going to blow. And I guess that whole scene with the way the tank is driving through the city is supposed to be a reference to World War II stuff.
I mean, yeah, it looked very World War II-ish. Yeah.
And after I saw the comparison, I was like, that's cool.
Yeah. Or you could, if you're being a little bit even more lefty, you could say it's comparable to like the American occupation of Iraq or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's actually what I thought of. Like
it's a desert.
It's a desert. It's and it actually is like it is a thing that our troops do or did over there. Is you've got people in some sort of vehicle, and then you've got guys walking in front of and behind the vehicle.
Yeah.
When they go through towns, like that was something. When my best friend, when he talked about in Afghanistan, that doing that, like when they would go to a village, they would have they would be escorting VIPs, because that was when he was in Afghanistan, his job was his unit. They escorted like State Department people to go talk to the Taliban and tribal leaders and stuff, and they would go into a village, and they'd have the armored vehicle have the VIP inside, and then like 40 soldiers walking around it, are basically sitting ducks for ambushes and stuff.
Right. Crazy.
Yeah.
Or getting rock. What happened more often was like people throwing like rocks at them and stuff. But yeah, so I thought it was, I saw it and I immediately just thought of like, oh yeah, like Afghanistan or Iraq or something.
Yeah. It's hard not to these days.
Especially because it's also like ambushes, it's like terrorist ambushes.
I mean, and Saul Guerrero's rebels are pretty vicious too. Like, I like how you see them, getting ready for the attack, and even at one point, Cassian kills a whole bunch of them because he's trying to save Jin because they're about to blow up Jin.
Yeah, He only
Yeah.
kills one on purpose, but yes,
Yeah.
he kills several because that guy drops.
And
a
they don't
grenade.
forget that because they bring it up. They're like, "You killed our men, so fuck you."
Yeah, but in Saw Gerrera's defense, no quarter for fascists, man. Like the space Nazis, kill them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, also the other thing with like Saw Gerrera, because you have the point, like the big point of this movie is that you have this pilot that's defecting from the Imperials,
Yeah,
who was sent
and
by
this is-
Urso.
This
They
is
do a
the
good job
big
with that.
hang up for but this is where the movie's really chopped up badly, I think.
Oh yeah,
Is the stuff with Bodhi because so Bodhi shows up. They he wants to get this message to Saw Gerrera. Saw Gerrera doesn't trust him, and which I think is all great. But then Saw Gerrera's option is, so what we're going to do is we're going to have this brain sucking alien thing latch onto your head, and it's gonna find out if you're telling the truth, but you're also probably going to go insane. And then they don't really do anything with that. He
does.
goes insane temporarily.
Yeah, it's such a weird part.
Yes,
because
it
he has it together
Yeah,
later in the
yeah.
movie. He's just confused when they're leaving, but after they get off the planet and then go to the next
together
planet,
within by the time they get to the next planet,
Yeah,
he helps Cassian navigate on the next planet and everything. It's completely.
Yeah, the purpose for here's the thing. Why would you show that unless A, you want to have a weird CGI creature to sell a toy or whatever, or B, you want or a puppet? It's part of it.
CGI assisted. Yeah, CGI
Yeah.
assisted. Yeah. But anyway, yes.
Why have that scene in there unless you want, unless the audience is like, is he telling the truth? Well, we know the pilot's telling the truth because he's telling about the Death Star and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what this scene adds to the movie in any fashion.
All it adds is it makes Saw Gerrera look more dark.
I guess.
But they could have done it. They could have done something less silly. They could have had. He could have had that exact same torture droid that Darth Vader uses on Princess Leia. Only his version maybe is busted and rusty and looks like it's got parts added to it or taken off of it or whatever. Maybe it's got some panels missing. You can see the internals, and he's like, "We're gonna find out if you're telling the truth." And then they torture him or something. They could have done that. The alien thing, it was really weird because it isn't clear what he means either. He's like, "It will see the truth."
Yeah.
Is the alien talk? It didn't
is it
sound
hooked
like
up to a computer? It is weird.
So, exactly.
It will see the truth, and then you'll go insane, but only for a couple hours.
Yeah. So I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
But I do like Bodhi, the Imperial pilot.
Yeah.
I like his character arc too throughout the movie, over the course of the movie. It's really because you can see he's someone who he was because you got to figure the average Imperial probably isn't a bad person. They're just a soldier doing their job.
Right.
But over time, hopefully a lot of them, they see, he is someone who's like, man, I just want to be a pilot. I didn't want to be a fascist, and he wants, but he probably, feel like there's nothing he could do. And then, Galen Erso gives him hope that, hey, there's something I could do, and hope. That's the theme of this movie.
Right.
For the whole movie. That is the recurring theme, right? Cassian, doesn't really have, he doesn't like who he's become, but he doesn't have any hope that he can be better, and but he teaches Jen, that that she's got to learn to hope, and then she teaches him. So I really like that idea. And that's Bodhi's thing, is he hopes that he can be better, and then he gets a chance to be a hero.
I also find the Jeddah stuff some of the weakest stuff of this movie too.
Some of it, I
think the
stuff with Saw Gerrera is some of the weakest.
Yeah. It's too, like you were saying, it's too cut up, and you can feel how cut up it is. Them
in the city and or being like, we got to get out of here. This place is ready to blow. He can tell the people are on the edge of, they're on the verge of full on riots in Jeddah City. I like that stuff. I like the ambush, the whole thing with the ambush, and of course Chirrut Imwe being just a funny badass is great.
Yeah, that stuff was cool. It's more, I guess, when they get to Saw's hideout, that part feels very unnecessary, where they're in a cell just so Jin can watch the video by herself so no one else can see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was wondering, that's exactly what it is. I was wondering why it is that way. And of course, as soon as the power goes out, then the doors unlock, their power locks, I guess.
It's all because it's all that trust thing. That way, if only she sees it, and they have to trust her that she's telling the truth.
Right.
The whole point of the movie, that there's no trust between people.
Right, yeah.
So it works, but it's just, I don't know, I just, Saw Gerrera felt completely unnecessary.
But you're right. It's also like we were saying, this is the part that feels chopped up. Nothing else in the movie feels chopped up. It really feels like this is where they did all the reshooting, or a lot of the reshoots.
I think that is true. I think it's just part of whatever reason they got Forrest Whitaker back, and they got a bunch of people back, and they reshot it. But the reasons they did it are not, fully disclosed these days. So
I guess it got too dark from what they wanted.
They do a good deal of exposition here also, and Donnie Yen is doing like maybe a little more than he should have, a little more exposition than he should have, because with his accent, he's like speaking really fast and he's saying these like fantasy sci-fi names and stuff when he's saying it. And I had to, I didn't catch it in the theater. I had to watch it on Blu-ray and like rewind a couple of times to hear what he was saying about Boz.
That's one thing.
You don't even know Boz's name yet at this point. And he's like, Boz Malbus was the most, the most, loyal or the most faithful of all of us. And then, he gives like the whole he gives Boz's backstory, his backstory, like, but it's like real fast and stuff like that. It's just like, there's a technical problem with this movie. I feel like it could have done one more sound pass, and I don't think it was just what I was listening to. I think a lot of the people are whispering, a lot of people have foreign accents, and a lot of people talk really low and fast. And I feel like that's an issue they should have worked out. In the first few Star Wars, they did redubbing, which maybe they shouldn't have gone that far, but you can definitely, do more takes of certain things, or ADR or something. Yeah, I think they should have ADR'd some of the stuff, because it's kind of hard to tell what they're saying a lot of the time. But if you have the benefit of being able to rewind and listen to it again, then you can catch, and there's a lot of good information. But yeah, it does feel, and it's also like they're in the cell, but they're having like two different conversations at the same time. Yeah. Also, so they're kind of like back and forth with each other. And it can be a little hard to follow. And I think it's the direction. It's the a little bit also.
Yeah. I think it just goes to show that there's something going on in these scenes that didn't work.
Yeah, and the editing, yeah. But I like the interaction between Saw and Jin, where he's like, Jin, did you come to kill me? Did you come to kill me? Yeah. Like, because he's like her surrogate father. He's, you think about it, she probably, half of her life with her mother and father and half of her life with Saw Gerrera. Not quite half. I don't know how old she's supposed to be in this. I'm just trying to think about it, because she says she was 16 when he abandoned her, is what she says. I was 16, because he goes, when I left you, you were already one of my best soldiers. And she goes, I was 16 and you left me to die. And he explains like that he left her because people knew who her dad were starting to learn who her dad was, and it was making her a target. And I think I think when I first saw it, I was like, he was trying to protect her from like, oh, the Empire is going to catch her. And then I was thinking about it, I was like, I think he's trying to protect her from other rebels. Yeah. Because people are going to see her as the daughter of a famous collaborator, and want to kill her for revenge.
Yeah, I think that's my interpretation too.
Which I think is a more like kind of layered idea. Yeah. I thought I think the thing with Saw Gerrera with the his injuries and stuff, it's a little too much without well, it's because you don't have to explain it, right? Because it explains itself, right? It's telling us about his past, these injuries. I think the air thing is maybe that one is like, it's distracting a little bit.
He's definitely hamming it up when he pulls it out and then takes a big long drag of it. It's a very big affectation. It's meant.
Yeah, it's a bit too big. It might be just a bit too big from Forrest Whitaker, really.
Yeah, it could be.
Or the part where he unplugs it in the end.
Yeah, I like. He unplugs it and like throws it down. I like that. Yeah, because that's him going, "I'm ready to die." Though, also, I was watching this time. I was like, "Why did he need to die here?" Other than the plot, everyone gets out except for him.
But he's not injured or anything.
Well, I don't think the rebels...
Unless he's slow. I was like, well, maybe his cybernetic legs are like really slow.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think they got away. Like, you see them running out of the cave.
You mean
you only see one ship fly off and they're all dead.
Right, but he's the only one who's like, he gives up. He's like, oh no, I'm dead, I guess.
He didn't even try to escape. Yeah.
He didn't even try. That's the thing. He didn't try to escape. And it was so we could have this cool shot of him standing there and throwing down his air thing and accepting oblivion. And it is a cool shot.
Yeah. It could have. It just. You can sell that by saying like, "Oh, my wounds are infected. I have a week to live," or something like that, or I don't know.
Or they could have had him. They could have had him like in a chair instead of like on the cybernetic legs. I guess that would make people go, "Why wouldn't he just? It's Star Wars. Why wouldn't he just have robot legs?"
Right. So, yeah.
But yeah, you're right. There could have been something.
I see why they had to have him die. And it's a really cool, the shot of Jedha getting destroyed is horrifying but beautiful at the same time, like Krennic says. It is masterful shot.
Yeah, and seeing them test the weapon, like you see them test the weapon twice in this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also really cool.
Yeah, my son said like exactly that, by the way. We were watching it, he goes, it's beautiful, but it's terrible.
Right. They just killed, thousands, millions,
probably millions. Yeah. I mean, I love it. And then they just say like, oh, it was a mining disaster.
Right.
It's a mining disaster. Unfortunate mining disaster.
Yeah. The Imperial propaganda is working.
They don't even know what really happened.
One more thing on Saw Gerrera. So if you play Jedi Fallen Order, right, you interact with Saw Gerrera and that, but it's it's before his injuries and stuff. Which I guess, Clone Wars. He's in Clone Wars also.
Mm-hmm. He's also in Rebels too.
Yeah, he doesn't have like the breathing issue or the cybernetic stuff in either of those, does he?
No, I don't think he does.
I don't think so. So it's something that's happened between then and there.
Yeah.
But I think they do tell a story. I just think, I think you could even have all those injuries. He just needs to dial it. I think Forrest Whitaker specifically needs to dial it down a couple of notches. And I almost wonder if they were like, they're like, well, we want Forrest Whitaker, but we've got to explain Forrest Whitaker's accent in his voice. Let's just have him, because he does have that like kind of scratchy voice.
Yeah, it could be.
But it worked for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Another thing and then you see them fly away, but then the second planet they go to when they're not even trying to rescue, but when they're going after Galen Erso, I think that's also... Yeah,
Edo, I think.
You kind of get to see more what the rebels are going for and like what they're going through because, he's sent there to assassinate, but Jyn doesn't know that he's sent there to assassinate her father.
Right.
I like that.
And he tries to get out of it too.
Yeah.
Because she tells him what's going on. And so he knows that Galen is actually on their side.
Right.
And so he radios and asks for, what tells them and what do we do? And then, General Draven's like, follow your, continue as you were ordered.
Right. Yeah.
And you can see it on his face. He's like really upset. He's conflicted. He doesn't want to be the bad guy. He doesn't want to be a bad guy. He wants to be a good guy.
No, it's really good. And like, I like how, he goes up in the mountain after you have the comment you were talking about earlier where the guy's like, I can sense death. And then K2's like, he put that in sniper configuration too. Like just,
his blaster is in the sniper configuration. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just starting shit. And we were,
I thought he was, I didn't even think about it as K2SO trying. I thought K2SO was just trying to be helpful, but he may have been just, trying to stir up shit. It's hard to say.
Get rid of her. Cause he even says, if Cassie come back, we're leaving without them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was just reporting as normal. I think he was just saying, because he didn't know what was up too. He thought it was a scouting mission too, but he's like, oh, well, he did have a sniper one.
Yeah.
So I don't interpret it as anything ulterior in that.
Same.
Yeah.
But
that's probably fair.
But yeah, I mean,
it is comic relief too.
Well, yes, which is needed.
But I want to say, I love it again, where Chirrut says, is that man a killer? Does he look like a killer? And Baz says, no, he has the face of a friend. I love that.
Right.
That's so cool.
That's a good line.
And I was thinking when I watched this movie, I watched most of this movie twice because I got high during my first viewing of this movie. It was incredible watching it while I was stoned, by the way. Like, it was the colors and everything, especially the whole Battle of Scarif, we'll get to soon. Woo, that was cool when you're intoxicated. So, I will say but leading, like, the stuff when they're on the rain planet, like, how big of a ladder is she's climbing and how long they must be there for her to climb up that ladder and for them to get to where they get to.
Oh yeah, it's got to be.
It must have been hours.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I mean, it's good though. Like, I mean, I also think that no matter what, the engineers are all going to be killed by the Imperials. No matter what, like they're cleaning up. Like they finished their job. Like we don't need you anymore.
Yeah, probably. I mean, who knows? They may have kept them around and just kept them, doing other stuff.
You think you want
sequestered?
You think you want some in case you need to build another one?
But this weapon's going to bring peace to the galaxy.
Yeah.
I can see it. It's definitely Krennic trying to get Galen to admit himself, though. So he's doing the most desperate thing. And maybe he figures, these engineers aren't so special. Now that we've built one, we can build another one easily.
Yeah.
We have all the plans, essentially, at that point.
Yeah. I guess if you could, you can basically 3D print a Death Star at this point.
So I feel like that played a part, but it is a cool scene to see where they do gun and where Admiral almost dies because of the bombing and how much the rebels are sacrificing because they lose multiple ships in this bombing run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a very safe, but, again, they're putting the resources to stop, but at the same time, like, the damn shit, like, you already know the weapon shot, like, it's built. Like, you guys don't need to kill the designer anymore, guys.
They don't, though. They don't know it, right?
Well, he told them that it fired.
Well, yeah, they have, like, okay, well, yes, I guess, yeah, they do know that, never mind. But still, I guess, the way they look at it, like, well, we're taking out these scientists before they can make more stuff,
Yeah. It doesn't, it might have been better just to not have lines of like, I'm not, I like the scene too. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it could have gone off a different way. I don't know. It just seems like it's another instance of them, going somewhere and getting, people getting saved at the last minute by a third party coming in there and saving the day, which happens a lot in this movie. I think maybe there's one too many in this scene. Like, I would have cut this part. I do like that, Galen and Jin have their final talk.
Right. They
do the final moment
before he dies. Yeah.
I feel like there could have been another way to do that, but I like it, in the movie as it is. Because he says, like, I think his last lines are, "I have so much to tell you," or something, and then he dies.
Yeah, and he also Stardust again and again.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Yeah, it's a poignant death.
And it has a payoff, so it works. Yeah. Oh, and one last thing about Jeddah that I forgot to mention that I want to bring up is on Jeddah, we also see the I think I know the word I want, Easter egg, we'll go with that, of the two guys, Tanuba and the other guy from
New Hope. Dr. Evazan. Yeah.
I love that they're there.
Oh, I don't. That's one of the ones I was like complaining about.
It doesn't bother me. I mean, hey, it's the right time frame. They're getting on a ship. They're going.
It's like a week before. What are they doing? Heading off to Tatooine right afterwards?
No, they're heading to Tatooine to go get a drink.
And was Dr. Evazan, was he also in Solo?
No, but he brought him up because his creations were.
Okay, that's what I thought. My son was like convinced. He's like, no, he's in Solo. I'm like, no, he's not. He's really not. I promise. He's
we just talked about him.
Okay, we talked about it during the Solo podcast. Yeah.
So
it's a little bit gratuitous for me.
We will talk about it in the Solo podcast, right? Because that's in the future.
No, Solo already came out this season.
Oh, it did. Okay.
At the time that this will be released, yes, because this actually won't be released till August.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we're doing that.
And Solo comes out in July of 2023 for us. So in the future of this recording, but in the past when you're hearing this. So yes. And then when you go back to the Yavin 4, when they're getting ready to do the final assault on Scarif, which, again, everything gets shot down, the rebels won't go for it, the council doesn't agree, and they have that whole argument about, we're gonna die!
I love this part so much. This is so real. It feels so realistic to what it would be like.
Yeah.
You'd have so many of these, like, milquetoast rebels that are like, well, it's one thing for us to have these meetings and all that, but to, like, actually commit to, like, a battle, or I don't know about that. We need to scatter. We need to get out of here. It was one thing before we knew they had this Death Star. Now we got this Death Star. We better just quit this whole rebellion thing.
Yeah, I like the I like the voice of being like, "Oh no, the rebellion's doomed. I knew it was doomed." Somebody says that. Yeah. Should always be that people who say that, or
there is just like one really shitty guy who's just like whining the whole time, and then the African American lady too. But especially she's like worried and upset. And saying we can't do this, blah blah. But the other guy's just seems like he's terrified. Like he's just like
yeah.
And you can see like Jan Dodonna and is like kind of like the moderate, trying to like kind of keep everybody together. And Mon Mothma and Jimmy Smits keep looking across at each other like this is happening. This is exactly what we knew was going to happen, right? Mm-hmm. They're like the two who are like in it for real. But Mon Mothma was like, well, we can't do anything unless the whole council does it. So sorry. This is where we get the great line, though. The rebellions are built on hope.
Right. Yeah.
And they have done.
Because they're like, what, you want us to do this? Just what? Based on hope? She goes, rebellions are built on hope.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
I do.
Because we see her character, like early in the movie, she doesn't care about anything. And Andor tells her, you got to have hope. Rebellions are built on hope. Yeah. I love that. I love all the stuff on Yavin 4. And also, Yavin 4 just looks really, really good.
Yeah. They did a good job recreating it.
I mean, they built like it's all practice. Like it's almost all practical. Like the X-wings, like when they climb into the X-wings, it looks so good because it's real. They're climbing into actual X-wings, and or fake X-wings, but you know what I mean.
There's such a difference between a movie like this and the prequels, where everything is fake.
Night and day.
Yeah.
I was talking with my son about it because he kept talking about how good everything looked. I'm like, it's because it's real.
Right.
It's real. It's why it looks so good.
And I know, I was defending the prequels a little bit watching them, but I'm watching a real movie with real things puts them to shame. Because it's like George Lucas could have done this too. He had the money. He just
could have. It would have. The prequels would have looked so much better if he had done them like the original trilogy, and then just used all that technology toward remaster, making it look crisp and pretty. But all the CG just it doesn't age well. But even if it aged well, even like watching now, like I would rather watch something like this than like a modern Marvel movie where everybody's like flying around in completely CG environments.
Yeah,
it just looks better. Even with modern CGI, real looks better.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't disagree.
Yeah, so I love all this stuff on this planet, and yeah, they and so she's like despondent, and then Andor shows up. And he's like, I told you they wouldn't go for it. She's like, well, you were a lot of help, and he's like, I want to, and so and she's like, well, what, just me and you or whatever. And then he like kind of, you look to the side and there's just these other rebels that are there, and they just looks like some hard motherfuckers, like some cold some modern warfare like operators. Like they look hot. It's like the different characters you get to select in like a modern warfare game or something.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. They are very, very tough looking people.
Yeah.
And
there's one dude, man, he just looks like stone cold. I love him. It's like the guy, like he's got like a beard, and he's got a bandolier of like shells across his chest. Yeah. Like, I want that guy. Yeah, let's go do it.
He's like, he's like, we've all done bad shit, or he's like, we're assassins, saboteurs, and whatever. We've all done things. Now we can help you out.
Yeah, we've all done things. We want to do something we can be proud of or something like that. It's like, I love it.
It's really good. It also makes sense completely. So
that's exactly.
They've done the groundwork of the rebellion, and they're not just senators with rich fancy clothes walking around. They do actual work.
Exactly. Right. You can see that these people who've been putting their lives and their morals on the line don't want to just cut and run the way these like wealthy senators and stuff want to cut and run.
Yeah.
They want to fight. And also later when they jump off, when they go into battle, like one of them yells, "Virginia!"
Right. Yeah.
It's like, so like you can see that side of it also.
It's like somebody being like for Alderaan or something, it's the same kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They should have had that. Battle of Hawk.
It's weird. It's weird they never mentioned Alderaan again in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
But there would be people like that.
There'd be so many people. There's like a planet with billions of people on it. Yeah. Seriously, Battle of Hawk. They should have had like somebody run into a hail of stormtrooper fire, like shouting for Alderaan.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And everything with Scarif is awesome. Like the fact that they stole this vehicle earlier, so that's how they're able to...
Yeah, the Imperial Shuttle, yeah.
Yeah, and we never had a thing before like this, where you have a giant planet that's covered by an energy shield that you can see. Right. You can see this shield, and you can see how, like, there's one opening where they can go inside.
Yeah, it's like a little bit maybe lower... It's either lower or higher tech than the Endor moon shield. I was thinking about it because I was like, on the one hand, the Endor moon shield, doesn't have this flaw that this one has, this like huge gaping flaw. But on the other hand, to get on and off of Endor, you've got to like turn the entire planet shield off. So, it's a pro and con thing. Yeah, I like it. It's a cool idea.
As a writer, I'm trying to figure this out, and I assume like the Endor shield was temporary. Like that was a very powerful but temporary workaround.
Oh, yeah.
This is like an emplacement, and maybe the Empire doesn't have very many of these. Like, so maybe this is like a very expensive system, but like whenever you have a key planet, you might have this if there's not too much traffic going in or out of there.
Oh yeah, exactly. And this is not something that have a lot of traffic. It's a planet where they store data tapes.
Right. It's apparently an entire planet for an archive. It's
an archive that fits in one room.
Right. Yeah.
and I guess the rest of the planets, maybe it's all like ocean. It's like an ocean planet. So, but they're like, well, with this like one island on this ocean,
maybe it's like in the optimum subspace range or something. Maybe it's like it's just very strategic, but.
Or maybe there's all sorts of stuff on this planet, and this is just one facility on one island of this planet. That's probably better than us. We're being a little too George Lucas and making every planet a one thing. Yeah,
it could be like they keep like prototypes there. Or they mine something important, or like they store something else important there. But
yeah.
Hey, like Star Trek does the same thing. So
because they've got a fairly large garrison. They've got like several AT-ATs. I mean, they've got to have probably a few thousand troops. They've got a whole a pretty good host of these really cool looking TIE fighters.
Yeah. The Scarif is, of course, I think, are we all in agreement this is our favorite part of the movie, the final battle of Scarif? I don't know.
It's so good. I remember when this movie was coming out, they were calling it like Saving Private Ryan Star Wars.
Right.
That's a fair way to put it. I remember not liking Scarif as much, but when I rewatched it last night while stoned, I thought it was fucking amazing, and I was working back to get to it again today. That didn't happen. I just didn't get there. But I really enjoyed it so much, and like I really appreciated what they did with it.
It's great.
I'll say it's filmed in the Maldives, which is a tropical nation. I think it's near India, but it is a very unique Star Wars landscape because they don't really do tropical beaches. Every planet is like mountainous or desert or.
Yeah, I will say the only time they've ever done a beach is in the Battle of Kashyyyk in Episode 3.
That's right. But that was very gray.
But that's very gray, dark. That's like a British beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Tropical. This is I was gonna say the only other time we've seen a tropical location like this is Andor.
Right. Yeah.
He gets arrested by the beach cops.
I like how the fact that when they go get the way they do this when they go to that planet Scarif, they're disobeying orders or just taking people that volunteer, and then when they start to battle, the rebels then send their whole fleet to help them out, which again saves their life. But
I don't think it's actually the whole fleet. I think it's the people that agreed to send because some of the leaders had already left and they probably took their ships with them.
Oh, good point.
I looked at it as it's like what they've got at Yavin 4, basically.
Okay.
Was still
not
there.
A fair way to put it.
Because it's if you look at it, it's not as many ships as they. Well, I don't know because I was going to say at Battle of Endor they've got a lot more ships, but Battle of Endor is also like 8 years after or 7 years after this. So.
Yeah, they would have gotten more.
5 years. 5 years after. Yeah, like 5 years.
I feel like the bulk of their fleet's there because we don't see any fleet in Yavin 4 is undefended and.
That's true.
In A New Hope, so. Yeah, if it's not elsewhere.
Battle of Hoth, they have mostly just transport ships. So it is probably most of their fleet. Yeah,
at least their capital ships, their attack ships, their heavy cruisers and stuff that could go against a Star Destroyer.
Yeah, they also send in a medical frigate, which feels like a mistake.
Yeah, I never got
that back.
I never understood that. It makes sense for it doesn't make sense for a space ship.
Yeah, but they did that in the Battle of Endor also. There's like 3 medical frigates in the Battle of Endor. So.
I mean, I guess because this wasn't considered a suicide mission. Like, they even say at one point, hey, Bodhi, stay with the ship. You're our way out of it. Like,
right, yeah.
So they weren't planning on dying.
Yeah.
Until Vader and the Death Star showed up. They still figured they could get away.
Yeah.
That'll work out so well. But there's 2 things that I want to mention that we have, or one thing we haven't talked about yet before the Battle of Scarif is you have a small scene with the Admiral meeting Darth Vader at his castle.
Right.
And I'm a big fan of this scene. I really liked
this. This is one where it was. I thought it was good, but it was also. It's one that I read was added last minute.
I can see that.
It was shot added last minute. You can tell that it's obviously they can't shoot that on location because it's in a volcano. So, but it's it's the most clearly we're on a soundstage and a green screen, and
it is,
and it also it's pointless. It's just there to show us Krennic, being a dipshit. And really what it's there for is to give us a Vader cameo.
Yeah.
Right.
But you get the great line of, don't choke on your own ambitions.
Yeah, yes. Aspirations, he said. Yeah, because I thought he said ambitions. Yeah, don't choke on your aspirations. Or be careful not to choke on your aspirations. Which I thought that was good.
I saw it in the theater, I groaned. I will say that. I was like, ugh. I thought, it was funny. And I think it was intended to be funny because Vader is a drama queen.
Yeah, also Vader making his... I know that's from the comic books, but Vader making his castle on a volcano is dumb. He would hate fire. He wouldn't want to
You would
around.
think so. Huh? I mean, that's a logical explanation, yes.
It's a very cool scene because you get to see Vader coming out of there. We see the acolyte or whoever his attendant is who, I don't know if we've ever seen anybody like that who helps. He's some sort of...
We've never seen anyone serve Vader except for Imperial officers. Yeah, that's true.
Right, so who is this person? It was very evocative. What is his job? Who is
housekeeper?
His name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like...
Are you ready for dinner, Mr. Skywalker?
Yeah, and one of the Star Wars novels that I don't like very much, the Black Fleet Crisis trilogy, Vader has a castle on Coruscant that Luke pulls up out of the ocean because it collapsed. And I like that idea. Of him having kind of like a beach home on Coruscant.
He would probably have several houses, I guess.
Yeah, I guess he would. He would.
To be fair.
Yeah, to be fair, he would.
Even though I do like the scene, I do agree it's pointless because we already know Krennic is, trying to please the Emperor because he told that to Tarkin. He was like, "You'll tell the Emperor that," he said something.
He's trying to go over Tarkin's head is what he's doing here.
Yeah.
And it worked out so well for him. So.
I see why you like it, Mike, but I just don't. I think it's
I also like it because I remember reading it in book or like probably a magazine or somewhere talking about how he had this fighter castle, and this is the first time you get to see it in live action.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I appreciate it. But no, I from like the movie standpoint, it shouldn't be here because it takes away from the flow of the movie.
Right.
Yeah, and it was one of those things of like we didn't need Vader in this part of the movie.
No.
I was about to say we didn't need Vader in this movie, and that is incorrect. We'll get to that. I want to hold that for when we get to it. But yes, it was unnecessary, but it was cool. I like him, choking him and then being like, don't choke on your aspirations. Be careful not choking on your aspirations. I like that.
I laughed my ass off last night when I watched this.
It's pretty funny.
I mean, I was a little bit stoned, but
I like seeing
I laughed.
Krennic just get, just dominated over and over again in this movie. Like he just gets big timed by him and Tarkin. Like you can see his frustrations.
It's great we have a main villain who's like essentially just weak and impotent, and like everything he does is like
he's a dipshit. I love it. I love a dipshit main villain.
Exactly. Finally, Star Wars has dipshit representation.
But everything with the Battle of Scarif, like how they're you see the troops just like running around the beach and setting off bombs and everything.
It's so good. You can see like when the explosions are going off and they're actually blowing up palm trees. You can see.
Right.
Like it's so real. And I watched like a little behind the scenes where they're doing it, and there is CG assisted for sure, but they're setting off real explosions and they're on an actual beach.
Yeah.
They're on an actual beach setting off explosives like a real movie.
And it looks so good. And apparently one of the I think it's one of the Rebel or Saw Gerrera's people is all of a sudden his name blanked. The guy that plays Wicket.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, he's in this too.
Yes, he was in, and we saw him in Solo. So
Warwick Davis. Yes. All of a sudden, I couldn't remember his name.
So can we assume that this is the character from Solo also?
No, because he's in costume in this one.
Oh no, you're right.
Is he one of the aliens? Is he one?
Yeah, he's one of the aliens.
He's that little alien with like the gun that's like really big for him. He's like a machine gun. I loved it.
Yeah, I like that because there aren't a lot of aliens in this movie, but when there are. They're just kind of, we don't need to know their stories. They're just like there to be some guy who shoots a big gun. It's like,
well, and that's a criticism I have of Star Wars of the original trilogy, but really of all of Star Wars. We got lots of kooky aliens, but they're just there to be kooky aliens in the background. We don't almost ever have a alien, member of the rebellion or we know why we don't have the Empire because they're racist, but we don't have like I'm trying to think. It's like this and Solo. Do you ever see aliens doing anything other than being background characters, except for if it's like an entire race, like there's Chewbacca, but other than Chewbacca,
Yoda, I guess, isn't it?
And Yoda, you got Chewbacca, you got Yoda, you got the Ewoks, but otherwise aliens are always there as like set dressing.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry, that's what's his name? Nub Erasure. Sorry, Nia Nub Erasure. He's a co-pilot of the Millennium Falcon.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, help save the galaxy. Guess we got to keep him in mind.
And lest we forget Jar Jar Binks as well.
Yes, I was about to say in Jar Jar.
There are
Who was in this movie, by the way. I sent you all the screenshot. The video.
Is that real though?
I think it is.
I couldn't tell.
I have to look up that's a real Easter egg.
I think it's a real Easter egg. It's insane.
It very, very well be.
Yeah.
Oh, also, to speak a couple of Easter eggs, there's a reference to General Syndulla in this, which is Hera from the Rebel show. Okay. And then there's also the Ghost their ship in the Rebels is in this movie apparently in a very small scene when the Rebel fleet shows up.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I read about that.
Which is cool.
They do also put in Gold Leader and Red Leader from the first movie are digitally inserted into their ships as well.
Which is really awesome that they did that.
Yeah,
they took the footage.
I was surprised when I saw it. But when I first saw it in theater, but I was like, wow, they really did that. Which, is fine, too. If you don't do it too gratuitously, if you do it very briefly, I think is also can work, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So it's a nice, they instead of recasting them, it's interesting what they chose to recast. But maybe I feel like they wanted to test out, the digital actor technology. And I feel like they did that with Tarkin, Leia, and then, Red Leader or whatever. So they were like, we're not going to recast every role.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with it in this movie because it's so close to A New Hope that, like, fine. But, like, when it comes to, like, Luke Skywalker and anything, like, The Mandalorian stuff, just recast him at this point. Like, my God, get over it.
It's interesting to see where Hollywood would go. As somebody who's even writing, my next book is going to have a lot to do with deepfakes and AI technology and stuff like that. As someone who is writing about that, it's interesting to see where Hollywood goes with that, with, like, bringing back actors who are dead or, like, especially now with people threatening to strike every day. As of this recording, the actors are threatening to strike too. So
yeah,
that's an aside. But
yeah, no, I saw that too. So
no, I see what you're saying though.
But yeah, the Battle of Scarif, I really like.
It's just so well done, and like having the stuff with the director Krennic, like all the stuff going on with him, and how he's like he ends up following them, as they go through this mission as they're trying to steal the data. He figures out what's going on. Kinda, and then like the whole like where they're climbing the tower and you have that little shootout with him. I thought that was really cool.
It's so great. Or he's like where you see the explosions. He says, "Are you blind? Alert the garrison."
Yeah, because they're all watching
shock.
with them.
Just like,
and I was thinking, I was like, well, they're probably waiting for you to give the order.
Right.
You're the commanding officer on this in this room.
He takes out his frustrations to everyone else, even though he's a dipshit. Everyone else is, but according to him, he's surrounded by idiots too. So
yeah. Well, that's part of him being a dipshit, right?
Right, exactly. But yeah, it's great when they chase him. K2SO holding outside the vault. I think he's the first one to go. Am I correct?
Yeah, he is.
He's the first one in the gang to die.
He's the first member of the main cast to die. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all just die like one after another. You have Donnie Yen who hits the switch that they need to hit so they can broadcast and then dies, and then you have his friend who sees him get killed and he runs and kills people and then he dies. Yeah. The pilot, I think he gets blown up, right?
He tells him right after he says you have to blow up the shield.
He's in the shuttle and they throw the grenade into the shuttle and he looks at the grenade and then we see the shuttle explode. So yeah, it picks off our characters one by one. That when K2SO died, my son was like, no.
Yeah, well, that's the one. Yeah, the kid's gonna be most concerned about.
Yeah, but me too. I mean, that one and Chirrut are kind of the saddest ones for me.
Oh yes, yeah.
And you think Andor is dead when he gets shot and falls in the tower room, and then I like that they have to grab the files and then she hooks it to her belt and as you climb it up. I really like that. There's a part when she goes through a vent where I thought maybe it was going to cut or something because it just seemed like that's what should happen.
Oh, the vent that's opening and closing for some reason.
I like that vent, by the way.
It's a cool little thing. You wonder what it's for, but it's just
I was like, what is that for? Why is it opening and closing over?
It could be malfunctioning, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's what I figured. Is it malfunctioning? They should have had some sparks coming off or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Otherwise, it just seems weird to have a slicey thing in the middle of your turbo shaft or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, this is Star Wars.
It is Star Wars, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's great physical props. They're like, it's 1970s technology. They have data tapes. Yes, even though made in 2016.
They're like, I don't even know what you would call it, the claw machine to pick.
Yeah.
It is a little silly.
That's a real thing as far as I know, where they used to have old computer banks that look like that, and they would have a machine that would grab the tape.
Oh, really?
If you ever see the movie Clear and Present Danger, they show that in the movie. But that's just insane. It's definitely antiquated technology.
Yeah, but it works for Star Wars. The Star Wars is kind of a mixture of that at times.
Exactly. Oh, I know.
Alien is, but it's still a mixture of it at times.
I did love it, and they even do the sideburns hairstyle for a lot of people. So
yes,
how quickly she climbs the tower compared to the director who takes the elevator. I thought that was funny too.
Yeah, he has to leave the room and take the elevator because he's not going to follow her.
Yeah,
there's leave the room and go outside and go to the elevator and I get it.
But I like how she has enough time to get up there, press some buttons, get the satellite lined up right, and then he shows up and pulls a gun on her. I still like it though. I like that whole scene with her on the roof.
Yeah, and again, that's another thing where it's very impractical to have your antenna controller at the very edge of your structure, but it's very Star Wars. That's what they do in Star Wars.
Yeah,
it's like the tractor beam computer being above the tractor beam shaft. Anyway,
it's stupid, but Star Wars is known for
right.
Following OSHA.
Yeah,
hey, look at this throne room we got, where our president, our god of this empire, is going to be, and hey, what's that there? Oh, don't worry about that shaft there.
Oh,
That's
that's-
Oblivion. We're still working on it. We'll put some tape up or something.
Right. They should have had a sign that says caution.
Don't
Yeah,
throw
but you know, on the other hand, you know, he knows he's just a clone, right? So it's fine.
Yeah.
So when we get a music video where I think I'm a clone now, just from Palpatine, just looking at each other. Why does there always seem to be two of me around? Okay.
Yeah.
I
This
have no idea what you're referencing.
I like. One other thing I want to point out. I forget what it's called. The AT-AT. That's not quite. It has like a big hole in the middle or whatever.
Well, it
It's
has
like,
the doors open because the AT-AT is a troop transport. It's
Right.
got the doors open. We've never seen one with its doors open before.
right. And
I
it's
love
so,
it.
Yeah, and you see them like get blown up from the air too, which didn't happen in the original trilogy.
Well, they
It
didn't
seems
have
like-
X-wings though in the original
Well,
trilogy
no,
when they
they
fight.
didn't. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
they did.
they were on snow speeders that don't have like heavy armaments on them. So that's why.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, I bought
I mean,
it.
Rogue
X-Wings are
Squadron,
like
Peter, we had X-wings and we couldn't blow them up. I don't think, right?
Well, Rogue Squadron.
that's true.
We talked about that in the episode.
I know. It was a while ago.
But yeah, it was great to see the new equipment and the beach troopers. You know, because
them.
every planet has a environmental appropriate stormtrooper, which is
We got our
great.
beach troopers. Love it.
Yeah.
I love the beach.
I
troopers.
love different troopers. Like
It's interesting. Like they're mixed in. It's like beach troopers and regular troopers kind of mixed together too.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're just filing out at the same time. Or they've got their
Yep.
own division or something. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm
I
also
like-
a big fan of the Death Troopers too in this.
Oh, yeah, they
Oh
do.
yeah, the Death Troopers are so cool. Not to be confused with the Dark Troopers from the
Right.
Mandalorian, which are different.
But a robot.
They're robots, right? These are Death Troopers.
And just
Yeah,
the
I
way
love
that
the Death Troopers.
they transmit the plans right before the Death Star lines up to then shoot Scarif and blow it up.
Yeah, and my son and I both noted, by the way, I think just to give us the cool shot of Cassian and Jyn dying on the beach,
Yeah.
the Death Star doesn't shoot the base. It shoots
Right.
to the side of the base, though the beam goes straight through the tower the Krennic is in.
It's like, I like Tarkin's little smirk before he fired, because some part of me is like, he knew that Krennic was right there. He's like, make sure the super laser destroys him first.
Yeah, I wonder. I almost think that is exactly what happened, because we saw when they were targeting Jeddah City in the earlier scene that they actually like zoom in with a camera on the city.
Yeah.
So I like that idea. He's like, ooh, shoot him on the tower, shoot the tower.
It is so cool. I mean, it used to bother me. I think when I saw this movie last time, it made me feel sad because everybody dies in that last scene
Oh, yeah.
of Cassian and Jyn where they hold each other, then the shockwave just envelops them.
Yeah.
It's still sad, but I enjoyed it in this because this movie has to be looked at very much as like, the first half of A New Hope at this point.
Yeah, and remember what Dante says. Life. That's what life is. A series of down endings.
So I'm okay with it because of the way that this movie goes and this final
I'm more than
scene-
okay with it. I love it.
Yeah.
Same. This final scene is incredible, like with the Vader hallway scene.
Oh my god, that Vader hallway scene! I rewound and watched it like 3 times. I have to every time.
Yeah.
So good. I wanted to go back in the theater and watch the whole movie again just so I could see that scene.
Yeah.
When I saw it in the, that was like the first thing like I look up on YouTube after seeing the movie in the theater is to see if anyone's got that scene up somewhere. Like, which of course not yet, not then.
But
It's
God,
so-
the way that he just
so cool.
tears through that hallway, and then the guys are like, "Here, get," and the guys are trying to open the door, and finally like, "Here, just take the damn thing." Like we're dead.
Right.
I
Yeah.
love it because it's like a slasher movie. It's
Yeah.
like Jason, just walking slowly, implacably down the hallway, and nothing they do has any effect. And he just is taking his time with it. He's like, I'm gonna stab this dude, and I'm gonna grab this guy with the force and slam him in the ceiling and throw him on the floor. We'll take this guy and pick him up. I'm gonna grab this guy and use him as a human shield and then throw him into his friends. And I'm gonna put out my hand and let him shoot me in the hand and then shoot their blaster bolt back at him with it. And then I'm gonna take the blasters away. And then he just starts it's so good. And he just stabs the guy through the door.
And like you think about it, he's running through that entire capital ship, just murdering people, trying to get to them.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
just wants the tape. Nothing, they're just like ants to him.
Yeah.
And he's not running. That's the thing. He's just, it is very much, it's Michael Myers, it's Jason, it's that just slow, methodical, just like implacable death, just walking towards you. Nothing you can do. It follows. It's a whole thing. I love it. It's so good.
And then when you finally like they keep giving it to person until it finally gets to Leia.
Yeah. They get it, and the guy gets Leia. And so I asked my wife and son, I was like, how does this look? Does Leia look bad? And they both thought it looked great. I mean, I thought she looked a little too pale. But again, if I didn't know if I had never seen or heard of Star Wars, I would have had no idea that this was a CGI thing. I would have thought that she was lit weird if someone asked me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even notice that if I didn't know to look for it. I think people just like to be able to catch things and be like, ooh, see, that looks dumb, that looks bad.
No, it doesn't look bad. I mean, we know, so it's different for us, but it isn't bad. I mean, I could have done it if you didn't see her face. Like, I think that could have worked too because you know who it is.
And that's what I thought when I saw it in the theater. I was like, it would have been better if they had just shown her from behind.
Yeah,
or shown part of her face or something.
Yeah,
or,
but it was fine.
Yeah, I was surprised because I thought I remembered it being bad, but when I saw it, on my Blu-ray, I was like, yeah, this looks fine. I have no problems with this as far as digital actors.
She and Tarkin both look completely fine to me.
Yeah.
And she is pale. She is too pale, right. and I immediately started A New Hope as soon as we got to credits. I rewound and watched the Vader scene again, and then. When I got to credits again, because I rewatched it from the Vader scene, when I got to credits again, I just immediately exited out and went to A New Hope, which conveniently is right next to Rogue One because Disney Plus has the movies. They have like a chronological timeline order. So then I went to A New Hope and I skipped the opening crawl because I wanted to go right to when they're on the Tantive 5. And you see Princess Leia, and she's got rosier cheeks in A New Hope. Her skin she's more tan in A New Hope than she is in Rogue One. So I'm not sure why that is the way it is. I'm not sure why she doesn't. I know that watching a Corridor Crew break down both of these, they said that the big giveaway for people that can see the stuff is that they didn't have the technology for the subsurface scattering, which is if you hold your finger over a flashlight and you can see the light through your finger. So that's always happening when you're watching people. You just don't think about it. And at the time they made these, they didn't have the technology to do the subsurface scattering, the light. So their skin looks a little rubbery. And I bet that's why she looks pale. Is because she's lit by a blue light anyway. And it probably makes her look pale because it's lighting a kind of a plastic model almost.
I've never heard that term before, but that's good.
Yeah, subsurface scattering is the idea that the light does penetrate. When you're being lit by something, it does penetrate your skin a little bit. Yeah. And the human eye can discern it, even though you don't think about it.
Right.
So it's one of the reasons that CGI skin looks off. But nowadays, if they made this movie in 2023, I think only the most extremely discerning of people will be able to tell the difference because they've got that technology for it. So
it's
go ahead.
It's good to know, as someone who's trying to write fiction, as I said, write fiction where this is a plot point where the ability to discern real from fake is a key issue. It would be good to know that. And like I said, I'm interested to see where Hollywood goes with that, because I don't think it's being used too often. It's mainly right now it's being used to de-age people.
Yeah, that's a big thing. But they're doing more. They've moved on to the deep faking now more, and that's completely different.
Yeah, it is different. Like recreating somebody wholly from scratch, which wasn't even done here, but
it kind of is. Yeah, I mean, they basically took footage and turned it into a 3D model. They extrapolated footage of her into a 3D model. I also was interested because she says hope. They ask her what is this, and she goes hope. Right. And of course, we have audio of Princess Leia saying hope. It's one of the most famous words that actress has ever said. Right. It's like Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. Right. And I assume that they took that word hope. Though, I mean, Carrie Fisher was around. They could, maybe she voiced it. She may have come in to record one line.
I read that they used audio recording. They used archive footage from.
I guess her voice would be older now. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Her voice got scratchy with age. That's true. So.
Yeah. There's a lot of drugs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
She died the year after this.
No, she died it was 2016.
Oh, no, she died in 2016.
That's why when we get to Rise of Skywalker, that's why it's be so sad, because all that stuff is repurposed.
Yeah.
And she died a long time before even The Last Jedi, so.
Yeah, which is why I thought they should have let her die in The Last Jedi, but we'll get there.
Yeah, another thing.
I thought so.
It's not the only reason why, but it's why it would have been completely fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it looked good. I thought it was good. And again, I think it maybe would have been a little better to just have the guy walk into the bridge and he says, "Your Highness, we've got the tape," or whatever.
And then she still could say hope or whatever, but it just, yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be
definitely.
Yeah. It didn't need to be as stunty as it is, but definitely
still, I think it looked fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
It still looked fine. It was cool. And then I really do. This is like, I think the third time in a row that I've watched this, and this immediately felt the need to turn on A New Hope and watch A New Hope next. It flows perfectly. It flows so perfectly because it's like, I love the idea that this movie ends minutes or hours before A New Hope begins. Probably.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we don't really know how long they were being chased.
The story
it's kind of funny because I was thinking about like consistency, because when Lucas made the prequels, he just was like, yeah, who gives a shit about consistency? Yeah, Darth Vader fucking built our C-3PO. Who cares? I'm the god of this. I'll do whatever I want. But with this, it felt like they did they try to be more consistent with the Disney stuff, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. But anyway,
they tried to bridge. Oh no, you continue.
Oh well, no. I was just going to say that when Vader captures the Tantive 5, the captain who he chokes out and kills, who by the way is wearing the exact same outfit and looks the same as the guy that hands her the data tape at the end of Rogue One. So I think that's supposed to be the same guy, probably.
So. Yeah.
But he says we're a diplomat. We're on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan, right? And Leia says the same thing. She's like, we're on a diplomatic. I'm an Imperial senator. I'm on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan. And Vader's like, no, remember the Rebel Alliance and a spy. Take her away, right? But it's like if they had just come from Scarif like this, being chased by Vader's Star Destroyer, like there's no way like that.
Yeah.
Like that's just too big of a lie. Like they would have been like, no, we were on that ship and it got rerouted to Scarif. We had no idea what they were going to do. We're not part of some alliance. We were just, being transported to Alderaan, and then the ship we were on detoured. Like we don't know what,
Right.
So, but that's fine. That's not that big of an inconsistency to me.
I know. I thought about that too, for sure. I was like, well, obviously A New Hope was made not with this story in mind. I think the original canon, the Death Star plans have been stolen by so many people throughout history, but I think the plan, the old story was that, somebody stole the plans, then beamed it to the Tantive 4, which is going about its business, or was there to intercept it. Yeah. And so the Empire found out and captured the Tantive 4. The Tantive 4 was like, I don't know what's going on. We're just on a diplomatic mission. It's definitely not as exciting a battle as depicted here. So it was fine they changed it. But it doesn't, like you said, if they just fled from Scarif, it doesn't make sense to be claiming that, oh no, what are you talking about? We don't know anything about that big battle.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Right.
It's fine. It is, of all the inconsistencies in Star Wars, that one's not that big a deal.
I can also see it as maybe they didn't know, they were trying to act like it's not the same ship. Because it's not like they had a license plate for him to copy down.
If we assume that maybe they've been being chased for a while.
Yeah, I'm willing to forgive it. I think it's not something I would be too concerned about, I guess.
Exactly. It's a forgivable inconsistency.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Any last things to say about this movie?
I like that we didn't talk about it, but Jyn Erso is badass. What is that Indonesian fighting style with or it's not Indonesian, it's Philippine fighting style with the Kali sticks.
I don't know the name of it.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know
but it's awesome. Where they got the two sticks. It's so cool. And then she, but then when when they go to Scarif and she's wearing they capture someone wearing basically an outfit that includes those weapons. And then they see some other troopers with them also, which then to me is just so that's a thing. The Empire has these soldiers that are trained like this. They're special forces guys, and she was trained in the same martial art as them. That's cool. I can make it work.
Yeah,
but I like it.
I was going to say two more things. That I really like Krennic's white uniform. I think that's it's a very nice contrast to everyone else who always wears gray
or black.
Yeah.
Yeah. This established then for I guess in Andor, right? The ISB people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he's, supposed to be some other, he's like an engineer division or something. But yeah, it did lead to that distinctive style in Andor.
Yes, which I love that in Andor.
Yeah.
That character, what's her name? The villain in Andor is so good.
Right.
Is it Sartha? Is that her name?
Can't remember her name either.
I love the show, but I forget a lot of their names, so I'll have to look back on it.
Listen to our episode.
Yes, that's true.
Oh yeah, no, Sartha was the Mon Mothma's cousin. Never mind. Oh, Miro.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, director Miro. Yeah, I loved her, and she wears that white uniform. Hers is a little different because she's not as high rank as him. She only gets 1 ballpoint pen, not 2.
She doesn't get the cape either, like he has.
Yeah, or the cape, right? That is a Star Wars thing, by the way. Those like the pins. I was like, wonder what's that supposed to be? What are those supposed to be? Are those
pips?
Yeah, they're like they look like a stylus or something that they've got tucked. They look like a ballpoint pen. They've got like tucked in, but it like holds like it's a I don't know what it's supposed to be, but Tarkin has them.
Like a USB stick or something? Is that what it's supposed to be? I don't know.
I don't know what it's supposed to. Yeah, I mean it's like the size of like a Sharpie. You know?
Yeah,
like
I know. Marker. I know exactly what you mean, but
I've always loved that. I've loved that, and then their rank insignia, their pips, which look like a pack of Sucrets. They look exactly like Sucrets when I was a kid, to the point that I was like, I'm sure that they just like, and when they made A New Hope, they just like glued some Sucrets onto Tarkin's uniform there, onto the people's uniforms, because it looks exactly like them.
I can see that. I can see why you think
it's their cough drops. It's their cough drops. They don't look. By the way, I was looking right now in Rogue One. They look like very much like they've been like 3D printed in a resin printer. They look really nice, but in A New Hope, they really just do look like some Sucrets.
Different time.
It wasn't going to show up. I mean, on the movie screen, you weren't going to see that on a screen.
No one's going to be looking at this movie 30 years later with a magnifying glass.
Right, unless they replay it in the theater, unless there's a revival, right? Was there even home video in 77?
No,
not until the 80s. Yeah.
So yeah, no one did expect that. Like, because I always see that meme that goes around, or maybe not meme, but the post about the woman who saw the movie 5 times and then made a suit for Halloween, the rebel outfit.
Yeah, where she kept going to like study it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Cool.
She made the rebel pilot uniform for like one of the first like fan conventions.
Back when there wasn't no internet to look up things to see.
I know. Or even home video, you couldn't even like take the VHS and pause it or something.
Yeah, you just have to sit there and just draw it and just create it. All right, let's go on to our last segment, Shelf Stacker Box. And I'll go first. I'm actually going to put this on the shelf. I had a really good time watching it last night. I enjoyed rewatching majority of it today. I mean, it's just a really good film. And I really appreciate it way more than I ever did before. And this conversation has made me appreciate it even more. So it's going on the shelf, and I'm glad we finally I rewatched it. So what about you, Peter?
For me, it's definitely going on the shelf as well. It may be the best Star Wars movie since the original trilogy. It's certainly one of the best looking, one of the most exciting. It has great themes and a great cast. And other than a couple, small flaws, don't have much bad to say about it. I think holds up really well, and I would watch it again soon. So, yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Kerry?
Oh, yeah, shelf, of course. I mean, like I said, I think this is my 4th favorite Star Wars, and it's probably the second or third best Star Wars. Probably third best Star Wars. So, yeah, it's amazing. I'll probably watch it again, before the end of the summer even.
Yeah. You guys got me wanting to watch New Hope now.
Yeah, well, that's my wife and son and I we watch. It's probably not the most way, but we watch every night. We have dinner together every night. We watch something together every night when we have dinner. Usually just like a 30-minute TV episode of something, or whatever. And we're right now, like, I just started A New Hope. We'll be watching A New Hope. We'll probably watch the whole trilogy.
Nice.
All right. And at our next Star Wars thing you'll hear us will either be The Force Awakens in November of 2023 or Ahsoka in 2023. I don't know yet. One of those you'll hear first. So
I'm looking forward to both.
We're going to come back.
Forward to both.
I am too. I am excited for Ahsoka, and I'm excited to rewatch the sequel trilogy because I'm really curious where it's going to go for me.
Yeah, I'm not excited for that, but I'll do it.
I'm excited I love Force Awakens the 2 times I've seen it.
Oh no, Force Awakens is great. I've seen Force Awakens several times. I think it's actually pretty good.
I just don't know about Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. Those are the 2 I'm like, especially Rise. I feel like Rise is going to be a much different take than it was for me before. So
Last Jedi, I've watched a few times, and I can enjoy big chunks of it. Rise of Skywalker, I haven't seen since the theater, and we'll get there. We'll see.
Soon.
We'll get there. Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm so so it's been such a fun going through all the Star Wars stuff this year. That's been. Yeah. And because of this, I am now making theme years. Each year I'm going to try to pick a different thing that I want to tackle.
That's great. Yeah, no, I've been loving it, and I'm looking forward to trying to watch Rebels before Ahsoka premieres.
Good luck with that one. Rebels isn't bad.
Yeah, well, no, I found a quick viewing guide for Rebels too. So.
Okay, good. There's a lot of really good stuff in Rebels.
It's funny. The quick viewing guide for Rebels skips most of the first season, but then it skips almost nothing in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, the last 2 seasons are great. First season is the rough one. Oh, Chopper is in this movie too. The robot from Rebels.
Oh, is he? I didn't see.
Yeah, he's in a very small, quick scene. You can see him for a second, but he's in here.
Neat. Oh, by the way, I looked on while we were watching. I put on the movie. I cannot find the Jar Jar scene in the movie that's on Disney Plus. So if that footage was real, it's from the deleted footage.
Yeah, I don't think it's real.
I was thinking,
real.
Wait it looks so real, but that scene that it's from, I couldn't find even.
Yeah. So I don't think it. Again, the teaser trailer has scenes that definitely did not make in the movie, which makes me sad. But
yeah.
I hate when movies do that, like Alien vs. Predator, looking at you. But, all right. And if you want to hear more Star Wars episodes, we have done all the movies so far that have came out before this point, and solo. So you can find everything, go on right on Podbean, just type in Star Wars, see all our Star Wars content. We've done movies, comics, video games, all sorts of stuff. We do all sorts of other stuff in this podcast. You can search everything on Podbean. And Peter, where can people find you at?
Well, for now, you can find me on Twitter at PeterBP, as long as Twitter still functions, which is I don't know day by day. It may change. But if you're looking to read my books, you can find The Fifth Civilization on Amazon. You can start the trilogy there.
As of the day of this recording, Twitter just introduced a policy where if you're not a paid, you can only look at 600 tweets a day.
Yes, I've noticed that this morning.
I'm just like, do I even need to post anything in Twitter anymore? Like, does it even matter?
I quit Twitter and Reddit and haven't looked back.
Yeah. And Kerry, where will find you at?
Hey, I'm Karooseta, Kerooseta on Twitch and YouTube. I'm posting a lot more lately, trying to build the YouTube channel up a little bit. You can watch me modify and repair video game consoles and also play video games, playing a lot of Final Fantasy 16 and Diablo 4 on stream lately. So check it out.
All right. And if you want to support the show, we do have a Patreon. Little's dog, you vote in our Patreon polls. You'll see a link in the show notes. Each month we have different polls. Also, we have Discord. Please join our Discord and chat with us. Let us know what you think of the show, and always you can throw suggestions in there. If you want to support the show, rate us wherever you listen to us, Spotify, iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating. It helps a lot. Leave reviews. Subscribe to YouTube. It helps too, even though I don't make video content, but we're on YouTube, so all audio, but it's there. People listen to it every so often or get upset when they think it's a movie. Like what happened with this one, because it's going long enough. People go, oh, this is the movie? No, it's not. But people click it, so hey, it works. And I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena at Hellhatcher. You can follow her on TikTok. And I want to give a shout out to my buddy Bill Tucker, who started his own podcast, The Gamer Looks at 40. Definitely go check him out also. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. And that's everything I need to say, so we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
See ya.